Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Adventures of FoxFoil. Today we are starting out in the Pale Garden biome that we found last time, and we were able to collect up a lot of the Pale Oak logs as well as the Pale Oak saplings, so we will be able to take these back to our base and have access to those new materials. Now, we've been using stone tools for a couple of episodes, and I think today will be the day that we finally upgrade to iron tools, which means it's time to build an iron farm. But before we can get started on that project, we should return back to my home base. While I'm returning home, this is the perfect time to go ahead and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. If you're already a subscriber, then leave a comment down below, like the video, or share it with a friend. All right, I should be back at my home base. Let's return to the video. And we are back home after being away, and it is so good to be back. I am really looking forward to the projects that we have for today. While I was on my way back, I did pick up quite a few different types of items. You can see some down in the hotbar. We've got some iron, we've got some lapis, we've got a flint and steel, and all of these things are going to be useful for what we are doing today. One thing that we are going to need to do before we can get into the start of the episode is make sure that we have plenty of food, which means getting a bunch of wheat and then breeding up our cows. Because we're still early enough at this point that we haven't secured a good quantity of food, and I gotta make sure I don't starve to death here. With our food situation all taken care of, we can start thinking about our objectives for today. While we usually have 3 objectives for these episodes, I think today we are going to just have one objective, and that's building an iron farm. The reason why we are going to have only one objective is because this project is going to take a lot of time, and we've got a lot of planning that we need to do. The first thing that we got to figure out is where we're going to build this iron farm, and we have a couple of different locations on where we could do it. One spot would be this little area right here, which would allow us to have this hill in the background. The farm wouldn't be too far away from our base, and it'd be pretty easy to access it. We'd probably have to build a bridge here, but I think that might be a nice spot. The downside to this area is that it has the cherry blossom biome in the background, and it just doesn't seem to fit with having a big iron farm. The second location that we could choose is this hill right here, and we could build it in the forest. It would be on the way to the taiga biome where we get our spruce trees, and that might be a nice spot to have it with this cliff in the background. The downside to that location is that it's pretty far away, and we'd have a long ways to go to get all of the materials out there, plus we'd have a long ways to go to get all of the iron back. The third option for where we could build the iron farm would be this spot right here, which is on the other side of the hill from where our village is. But the downside to this is that if we ever were to expand the village and grow the city, we'd have this big iron farm right here, and we'd have to really work hard to get around it. But having it down here would be really close for getting all of the materials over there. That makes it very tempting. Lucky for you, you already know where I'm going to decide to put this because you've seen the thumbnail. Trying to pick this out is so much pressure. I could get this wrong and then it'd just be the worst. A, B, or C. Let's go take a closer look at this one over here. There are some things to really like about this area. We've got the arch here, we've got a cave over here, there's this ravine right here, which is giving me some ideas of things that we could build for this area. I think this might be the spot. Yes, this is definitely the spot. We may have to do some light terraforming to make this work for the ideas that I have and what I want to build, but that shouldn't be too bad. Let's go get some things together so that way we can get started with that. While I'm clearing out this area, I wanted to talk to you about a change I made switching from using the replay mod over to using the flashback mod. One of the reasons why I made the switch over to flashback is because it allows you to change the time of day. And by overriding the time of day, we can avoid the flashing effect that's created by the sun rising and setting in quick succession, which is really noticeable during a time lapse. So my question to you is, does overriding the time of day detract from the survival aspect of the game? I'll be interested to hear what you think. I think the digging is all finished for this area. Now it'll be time to go back in and add all of the blocks that we are going to use to make it look nice. For the terrain, we are going to be using a lot of blocks like stone and andesite and cobblestone and coarse dirt, and we are going to also use some of the new pale moss, which I think will look really well to help blend in with the grass. While digging out this area, I was able to collect a lot of cobblestone and a lot of dirt, which I have over here. So we've got a double chest full of cobblestone and a little bit extra. We also have 2 double chests worth of dirt plus a little bit more over here. So we are in a much better position resource-wise than we were before we started. But the downside to all of that is that it's cobblestone, and we are going to need a lot of stone for the stone that we are going to put in here. Plus, we are going to need some stone for stone bricks. So we've got to go out and get a bunch of coal so that we can smelt up the cobblestone to get the stone. Oh, and we've also got these guys who have been causing me all sorts of problems. I really don't like the pillagers. But I've actually just had another idea for what we could do. Instead of going out and getting a bunch of coal, we could turn all of these oak logs into charcoal. And that certainly is much better than having to go dig in a bunch of caves for some coal. So let's craft up some furnaces, and we'll use those furnaces to craft up some smokers. And then let's place down these smokers here, and we will use those to craft up the charcoal. So let's add the coal and add the... Wait a minute. Wait. Smokers don't work on logs? Never mind. Let's get some furnaces. I've moved my smelting operation over to where I get my spruce wood, and I've got this chest which has got all of the cobblestone. We've also got some logs here, and we've got these smelters going to get the stone. So while those are going, I'm going to get the spruce logs that we need for this build because we are going to need a lot. While I'm collecting up these resources, I wanted to talk about one of the challenges that I've discovered by moving thousands and thousands of blocks away from the spawn point in the world. You see, while I'm out collecting up resources, I'm usually sleeping in my bed and breaking it, which means that when I die, I don't have a respawn point. So when I respawn at the spawn point of the world, and I have to travel thousands of blocks through the nether before I can return back to what I was doing before I died, which is not ideal. So I think we now have everything collected in these chests that we are going to need for building the base portion of this iron farm, and I think that is where we are going to start because the main part of the farm is going to be built up in the air. So this portion down here can all be built before we get started with building the farm up in that spot. We have an area that's looking a little bit more like it's part of a mine and not just a hole in the ground. We've got these platforms which are just going to serve as the base for the iron farm, and the platform that the iron golems are going to spawn on will be up in this central area here. This area is where the iron golems will fall and end up dying so that we can get the iron ingots from them. Over in this corner, we have a ladder which leads down to the bottom of that area, and that's where the chest will go to where all of the ingots will end up. But this area down here is not finished at the moment. That will have to wait until we get the farm built. But before we can build the farm, there is one more thing that we need to go get, and that is the villagers which are going to be powering the farm. The fastest way to get those villagers over to where this area is at will be the river, which is right over here. You can see it just behind the trees here, and we will bring them by boat over to this area, and then we'll just have to transport them from the river back over to where we're going to be building the iron farm. All right, so let's get villager number 1 here, and away we go. And we've successfully transported villager number 1. Now let's get villager number 2 to get in a boat, and away we go. And we've now successfully transported villager number 2. So I think our villagers should be safe in this little box, and now we need to go see some sheep about getting wool, because we need to craft up about 12 beds. Now, should I have used shears to get the wool from the sheep? Yes, that probably would have been better, but because we are not using iron tools yet, we have to wait to use the shears until the end of the episode. So now let's put down the 12 beds that we've crafted up here, and that way we can get 12 villagers because we are going to have 4 modules of 3 villagers each. And we'll give these guys some wheat. Let's see if that will help them here. Let's just go like that. And do you like wheat? I hope you like wheat. So nothing was happening, and I was doing some checking. They don't want wheat, they want bread. And I gave them all the wheat I had, so now we need to go back to our wheat farms, collect some more wheat, and craft bread. So I went and got a 3rd villager because one of them, I think, has a full inventory full of wheat. And that's all it took to get a villager, so now we are getting baby villagers, which is excellent. And we can leave them to take care of business while we build our iron farm. But before we can build the iron farm, I need to do some crafting because I've got to turn all of these logs into stairs and slabs and fence posts and all sorts of other things, which will take a little bit of time. I better get started. So I now have everything crafted up into these 2 chests here. There is going to be a lot of spruce wood, as you can see. And then we've got some dark oak wood, stone, and I had to go get a little bit of deep slate. But I think that's everything we need to get started with building these. So let's get going. Our farm is now built, or at least the structure of our farm is built. There are a few things that we need to do before it's all set to go. When our farm is up and running, the iron golems are going to spawn in this area here, so we need to do a couple of things to make sure that it's ready to go. The first thing that we have to do is put in these fence gates right here, because we need to add water so that the iron golems are pushed to this center area and drop down into that hole right there. And the fence gates are going to keep the water from flowing down into that spot as well. Let's put water in this corner, this corner, this corner, and this corner. Then we can fill in this, get rid of the dirt blocks, and this area will be all ready to go. Next, we need to get some lava. Then we're going to come to the bottom of this area, and we are going to be placing in signs at this level right here. And we are going to use the signs to hold up lava for when the iron golems fall down. And to get full coverage for this area, we have to put some lava in the center, then we need to put some lava in each of the corners. And this is the last one right here. We now have full coverage with the lava. But that's not all we're going to be using down here. We are also going to be placing in campfires at this level so that when the iron golems fall down, they are going to be standing on top of the campfires and right in the middle of the lava. There is one thing that we need to add to this area still, and that's a bunch of hoppers underneath the campfires to collect up all of the iron. But I don't have any iron to be able to craft those up, so we are going to need to finish building the farm so that way we can get iron to get the hoppers. And I have a plan for how to collect up the iron in the meantime, but we first need to get the farm up and running. So we now need to figure out a way to get our villagers from this spot right here up into the boxes in this spot right here. So it's nighttime, and I think we are going to take advantage of that by getting our villagers to track the beds all the way up this little staircase that I made to get them up there. We've got our first villager, but that took a little bit of work. This may take a while. We've got all of the villagers in place, and we have 1 zombie in this tower here, but we still need 3 more zombies. It's now daytime, and I'm not thinking we're going to get any to spawn during the day, but we will get them tonight, and hopefully that will be enough time to get them up there. I did end up crafting a shield because I was getting shot by arrows running around in the forest, and the skeletons were not letting me go, so I have the shield just for that. But pretty soon, we are going to be in full iron armor, and that will be a huge relief. All 4 modules now have zombies, and I think it was a huge mistake for me to put the zombie in this one first, because it caused all of the iron golems to spawn right at the beginning, and every time I brought a zombie up here, there was an iron golem to kill it. So I had to create some pretty massive scaffolding around it to make sure that if there were any iron golems, they wouldn't get the zombies. But for this farm, it is based off of mechanics designed by Ian Exofor, and what it does is it has the zombie in the boat, which means that the zombie won't despawn and you don't need a name tag to be able to do that. This zombie is actually holding an item, so it won't despawn, but the main thing that's going to hold it here is the boat. But now I think it's time to finish getting all of this scaffolding removed, so that way this farm can start to function at 100%. We are also going to need to get rid of all of the iron golems which have spawned in and are littered about in this area. I think there are about 5 or 6, and so we're going to have to take care of those so that the farm isn't going to be affected by them. And it's a little bit scary to do that because you have to hit them and then go up 4 blocks so that way they can't get you back. And of course, this guy isn't going to cooperate and come over here. Is he stuck or something? Who knows? All right, there we go. Nope. Can we just hit him here? All right, I guess we can just hit him here because he's stuck. But after cleaning up all of the iron golems, we have almost a stack of iron ingots. We are going to need just about another stack before we have enough to make all of the hoppers we need for down here. So let's see if we can get this cleaned up. We also seem to be losing some of our wood here to the lava that's on that side. So I think what we should do is replace it with some stone bricks, and then we should be all set. So here's my idea for getting the iron ingots that drop down before we get all of our hoppers in place. We can see that there should be some right there, and if we use this trapdoor to get underneath the campfires, we can go along here and pick those up, and then we'll be able to use the iron ingots to craft up all of the hoppers that we need. We've now crafted up all of the hoppers that we need, and we can start putting them in here so that way we don't have to manually collect the iron ingots. I think what we are going to do is have a row going down the center like that, and then for the ones over here, they will just feed into that line on this side. We'll do the same thing over on the left, and then we should be all set to go. And already we've got 24 iron ingots in here with the 7 that we've already collected. That's 31. I think we are now ready to let this run for about an hour and see how much we are able to collect. So it's been 1 hour, and let's see how much we were able to get. Put that there. So we have 8 stacks and a little bit. That's just about what I was getting in my testing, and I think that will be plenty for what we need. But now that I have a full set of iron armor and iron tools, I'm feeling much better about things. It'll be so much easier to collect resources and go out and find things and get things built, since I will hopefully not die as much. I'm really happy with how this iron farm turned out. It'll be really useful to have, and I've got lots more planned for building next time. We've got lots of upgrades to do, and we're going to be expanding our castle as well. But until then, thank you so much for joining me. It's been great having you here. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And until next time, see you later.